boot, 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 bobbing along.
I'm Stuart.
And I'm Emmie.
We're child-free after infertility and newly living on a narrowboat. We're sharing our adventure here and you're welcome to join us.
Hi. I just thought I'd do a little catch-up before this video starts. It's been 2 weeks since our video where we'd fully broken down and the engine was broken. So what happened, to bring us to the start of this video, is we broke down in Berkhamsted. Smoke coming out of the engine and noise. And the lovely Mark came to have a look because he was going to change our cambelt. We don't have any service engine. So we don't have any service history. We don't know when the cambelt had last been replaced, and it's important for that not to go. So basically, if a cambelt breaks, it's really bad and it can screw up your whole engine. So we thought, well, we don't know when the cambelt was last changed, better get it done. And it was being a bit of a saga already, stretching over months, because our engine is unusual. It's a marinised Peugeot engine, like quite an old one, like from the 90s, I think. Stu's not here right now, so I can't check with him, but it's an old Peugeot engine that's been marinised, and so it's quite unusual in how it's been done and things, I think. So kept discovering little things, and it was delayed, and so it turned out basically that the woodruff key was missing, and this is something that sort of locks all the pulleys into place so it doesn't move around. So all that had locked everything into place was sheer force. So because it had been messed around with, it just got all pressure, like too much pressure was on it, and the whole pulley, the back of the pulley snapped. Thankfully, that was fixable, replaceable. Mark the engineer ordered a new pulley and did some edits to it that needed to be done so that it would fit with our engine. And then we were just waiting for him to order woodruff keys because that's really important and we want it done right this time. So that's where we're starting this video. We also already had some other things planned, so there's also engine mounts being replaced in this video, as well as our BSS, which stands for Boat Safety Scheme. So boats have to be reviewed for safety every 4 years, and the certificate is required so that you can have a license. Hope you enjoy the video.
Getting the mounts changed on the engine finally. Unfortunately, we still don't have the wheel replaced, so we can't test it. But these are the mounts that are going on. They're these big chunky compression mounts, which most people, even the original manufacturer of the original mounts, recommended we change to compression mounts, because it's meant to run a bit quieter and smoother and take a bit more of a pounding, I think. At the moment, this one on this side, this post is a bit too long, so he's just gone off to change it. It's weird seeing the engine all jacked up though.
Engine's done. The mounts have been changed. Fortunately, couldn't test that it's working fine because can't start the engine. But other than that, it should be okay. As I was just saying goodbye to the engineer and closing everything up, I was just stepping back down, and at the moment we've got no steps, they've all been taken out, and I just fell into the engine bay, which was a smooth move. I'm alright, I scraped myself up a bit, but I'm alright. So they're the lovely new engine mounts under there somewhere. 4 of them, and these are the old ones. So sort of in varying stages of buggered. You can see how the rubber has gone on the bottom of this one. This one, all the rubber's going around the top,
And not only is the rubber gone on the bottom of it, but that's actually snapped on the inside. So really glad that we got that done. There's the new lock gates in, and it looks like they've refilled this section. Which I was wondering why the section above was so low.
Being stuck in Berkhamsted is not a good place for an Elson point or emptying the cassettes, so poor Stu's just had to do a trundle. I think he's feeling quite grumpy, but luckily I'm feeling pretty good, so I'm going to cook dinner tonight. He's not going to have to do any domestic stuff. I'm so grateful that he likes cooking and it's a relaxing thing for him, and that's really not what it is for me. So I'm so grateful for that, and I'm happy to be in the kind of mood where I can cook for him tonight.
This is a vegetarian mapo tofu.
Right, really good news. Our engineer who was doing the cambelt has just messaged to say he's got all the parts now and that he's going to come back today, which is great. We're still iced in. We're still going to be iced in tomorrow. We might even still be iced in on Thursday. So I suspect that we're not going to be able to move. Careful, careful. I'm keeping everything crossed today, that everything just goes fine. The engine starts and runs nicely, and we're not going to be able to move to test it, but I'm sure we can gun it backwards and forwards a bit while moored, and just make sure that it doesn't suddenly go bang. Everything crossed. I just want all of this to be sorted. Look at this. Why do people always have to throw trolleys in canals? There's 4 of them? You might not be able to see them on the screen. There's at least 3 or 4 of them that I can see. Standing on the front of the boat, back of the boat, reminding myself what it feels like. Sadly, we're still not fixed. Needed a replacement key, woodruff key. Engineer bought a universal set, and it turns out that the old Peugeot engine doesn't take universal keys. It only takes a really specific, quite difficult to get hold of key, which is a bugger, because I was really hoping that we'd be able to leave this afternoon. That said, there's still seagulls walking across the ice, so we might not have been able to leave this afternoon anyway. Yeah, little disappointing. Need to put the engine back. I find it weird to look at because it looks like it's just a really still canal that's thawed, but actually it's just water sitting over the ice. I think not the engine not being fixed hit me a bit harder today than it should have done. And in fairness, I think I've been struggling for a little bit with 1 or 2 things anyway. So I'm trying to be actively more open in talking about mental health. I struggled after I got my infertility diagnosis with, I guess, essentially self-worth, a little bit existential, and just, for me, it sort of seemed to come out in wanting to be useful, wanting to be helpful, wanting to be worthwhile. And sometimes I think when things are a bit beyond my control, or when I'm not able to, I'm not able to fix something myself, I quite often, I can be really productive, and I can do loads, and I can completely throw myself into things and practically burn myself out doing it. I've got a lot on my plate at the moment, because as well as
obviously just general boat stuff. I've got a lot of work coming up. I'm trying to change how I'm working so that I can work more so on the boat, and that's going to require a lot of big changes. And I think also just having 3 weeks of not being able to run the engine, not being able to have hot water, being very careful about how we manage our power, has probably stressed me out a bit as well. I think I do a lot better on the sort of self-worth and existential stuff, but every now and again, because things don't go away, we just get better at coping with them. Every now and again something will happen that just seems to flare it up a bit, and I think just combination of things. And I was really hoping the engine would get going, even though we're still iced in, and there's no way that we would have moved even if we hadn't have been iced in. And I think I've let things get to me a bit. So I guess what I'm saying is more openly, like, take care of yourself. It's absolutely fine to feel and express your emotions. Don't just man up and bottle it all up inside you, because it's not healthy. And if anybody else as well, I just put myself out there. If anybody out there is struggling with infertility, I would happily talk to you about it. Anyway, please do take care of yourself, everyone, and look after each other. Some people from CRT who are up on that bridge there are pulling stuff out of the canal, and just pulling out all those trolleys that I think I took a video of the other day. You could see when it was frozen over. And they've also pulled out a motorbike, no, not a motorbike, like a scooter thing. Just so much stuff that's been dumped in there. And there's another trolley just up the way anyway. Pain in the what's it? But fair play to them, they've done a really good job. Got our BSS. It should be very imminent, and to be honest, I'm sure it's going to be fine, or largely fine. I'm just fretting a little bit because I can. Well, I don't know what I was worrying about. Annie passed with flying colours because she's a good girl. Only thing we got, there's a little bit of wood that's come loose in the engine bay that needs gluing and screwing back on, which dead easy. And then he said the gases are all good. He even adjusted our hob for us. It's always been annoying that when you turn the when you turn the hob on, it's always a massive flame, and if you turn it down, you will still get quite a big flame. So he just adjusted it so that there's much more movement. He's a gas engineer, so he explained a lot of stuff about like the gas system. So the gas is perfectly capable. It's a pretty decent system, which is good. This is one thing I was nervous about, because gas scares me a little bit. I'll be honest. So yeah, really good. Ron Goodall, I believe his name was, works out of Stonebridge Marina in Tottenham, and highly recommend. Seemed like a really decent guy. Spent a lot of time answering questions for me. Probably spent more time answering questions for me than doing the BSS. Can I just say, it feels so good to have something just go right. So all it was this little bit of wood here. Was just it was glued in, but with some sort of rubbish like silicone glue or something. So I'm just gonna pilot it, drill it out, and then screw it in. I'm just going to screw it because it makes sense to have it, because screws will be stronger, but it's also removable. Annie's battery bank. See this little bit of wood down here that's screwed in? That is the bit that I've just put back in so we can pass our BSS. Really tiny little thing, but I guess it just stops the batteries from being able to shift around.
It's a beautiful morning.
So I'll give you a running commentary. So now that we've got this £13.50 specialist Peugeot woodruff key, the pulley slips on.
Perfect.
Yay!
Excellent. Thank you.
All right.
Got a drippy hose.
Right. On my way to do some laundry, post-engine fix. The hose is still a bit leaky, the engine's still a bit too warm, or the coolant's still a bit too warm to do anything with it, so it's still quite pressurised. So I'm going to try, I'm going to have another go at it when I get back, and then I'm going to mop the engine out a bit.
That's our coolant hose. I don't know if you can... No, I won't even bother trying to show you. That's emptied out our coolant reservoir pretty much. The hose actually isn't in too bad shape. I think what must have happened is it must have just twisted or something when it was cranked up, because it's still got a lot on it in terms of compression. What I'm going to try doing is, because there's quite a bit of room on this hose, so I'm just going to cut off the little compressed bit and put it back on. I think that's my best bet, really.
Good morning. It's Thursday morning. We've had no engine for maybe, we're coming up to 2 weeks.
We had about 40 minutes of engine time yesterday.
Yeah, our spirits were raised. Mark did an amazing job because he's really worked hard with our difficult engine to get that cambelt and everything sorted and fixed and beautiful. And then after he left, the coolant tank broke,
Right.
which was probably about to happen anyway.
It was probably about to happen. I suspect that it was made worse by when the engine mounts were done. No fault on Ed at all. I just suspect that when it raised up, it put some there's a bad bodge marinisation on the coolant tank, and I suspect that it just made that bodge loose, and then I just couldn't get the hose back on tight enough. It just always leaked, and then as soon as the engine's running and the coolant's hot and it's all under pressure, it's just spraying.
So we had the engine running for maybe an hour yesterday, then discovered that problem, and now we are without engine again. But hopefully this won't take too long to fix. Sue's ordered a new coolant tank thing, and I think Ed's was coming anyway to check the engine mounts and show us some things on Tuesday. So hopefully he'll be able to help us out with that on Tuesday. So we'll be just over 2 weeks without an engine at that point. Which has actually been fine. We've been so lucky with the solar. It's just a shame. The thing that's hard is not having hot water during the icy bits. Yeah. It was stinging cold when washing our faces and things and having a little wash. We're lucky we've got gym memberships. We're lucky we had the solar, and we're lucky we're by the Waitrose cafe where we've been charging our devices quite a lot.
Thank you, Waitrose.
So very tired. But the thing is, I've been self-employed for 7 years. I've gone through some pretty big life stuff in that 7 years. And I know the secret to getting on with stuff when you really don't want to. And you just got to sometimes get up, put on some metal, get on with it, and deal with the fallout later. So that's what I'm doing today. So I've got some Norma Jean blasting in my ears and about 30 or 40 kilograms of cassettes and trolley. And I'm just going, just doing. Towpath is horrible and muddy and flooded in some places. We're just doing. Sounds like I'm doing something really like hardcore. I am not. I've turned the fridge off because I think everything's fine. We run our engine quite a bit during the week normally so that Emmie can charge her laptop. But because we still have no power, we are a little bit...
engine, you mean?
Well, engine, yeah. We're a little bit... I'm a little bit nervous because it looks like as well the next week looks like it's sort of intermittently sunny, and we still do get solar power even when the sun's not out. But the biggest consumer of energy is the fridge, so we're going to turn that off. Our cupboards, although living on a boat is not cold, as any boater will attest to generally, that doesn't mean that you can't find cold spots on a boat, and kitchen cupboards tend to be one of them. So we're going to set up a little larder situation in one of them and put all of the sort of perishables in there in Tupperwares and see how we go. So I'm going to do that now quickly since I've already turned the fridge off. This is everything we have in our fridge. Most of it can just go. Yeah, so I'm going to clear that cupboard out.
What do you mean it can just go?
Most of it can just go in that cupboard.
What, you were going to throw away all our food?
I am not going to throw away all of our food. Most of it can just go in that cupboard as it is, because actually, looking at it, most of it's just jars.
Good morning on Saturday. I haven't filmed a lot, I think, in the past couple of weeks because I've been quite busy with work and possibly on the edge of a cold, just really tired. We had a lovely weekend that we didn't film last weekend where we went to stay with my sister and my family and played, just had full attention on playing with our nibblings. But I think I caught a cold from one of them. Worth it, but yeah, just finished work Friday evening yesterday and then just completely descended into exhaustion and sneezing and runny nose. Feeling a bit better this morning, but still really tired. And we're still broken down. So we're still solar only, no fridge now, and Stu's just making breakfast. I want to spend some time drawing today, but yeah, I don't know how this weekend's going to pan out now because I don't want to spread my cold or end up having it longer than it needs to be around. I think it's practically gone already. Actually, I do feel quite rough, but when I get in a flow with drawing, that's okay. I feel okay when I'm drawing. Although, I did do a bit of a whoops and spilled ink everywhere when I was refilling my fountain pen. Luckily, I wasn't doing that anywhere near the drawing, which is quite a big drawing. But I'm enjoying the drawing, even though I'm doing just small bursts because I don't want to mess it up. And I wish I had more energy, but I guess this is how the weekend's going to be.
I bought a new tool. Definitely not a new toy. It's a moisture meter. So you put it in the wood. Whoop. You put it in the wood. It tells you the moisture content. So that's 20%. Ideally, you burn wood that's between sort of 10 to 20% moisture content. Don't know if you can see this one, but we're practically best friends because I fed it twice today again, and it really does know me. This week's been hard, but like we've had more boaters around us because the closure below us is now open, and sometimes you just got to remind yourself to sit on your roof and
appreciate how bright that moon is. And actually, even here in Berkhamsted, looking over the car park from M&S and Waitrose, there's still a lot of magic. Still beautiful. I was reading a lot of the history today on Berkhamsted. There's nothing fabulously excited. Graham Greene was from here, but just doesn't make it not interesting. I like the swans. They're cheeky. Emmy's not feeling too good. I'm going to go get some water because we feel like we're getting low on water. Looks like the boat that's been abandoned on this stretch has sunk. Can't say it's a mega surprise, as this has been in a right old state for a while, but now it's sunk on the lock landing, which is not great. It's not good at all. So just reported it to CRT. Look at all those guys coming in.
To eat it out of my hand. That's how I feel they want.
Yes, they do, yeah. So, I think we're fixed. We're going to cruise tomorrow morning, which will be the real test. I'm going to do probably an hour or two, get up to cow roast, and then if we can, try and get to Trincut. But yeah, engineer came back, Ed this time, checked the mounts. There was a strange sort of rattle, so he was really good. He did a good sort of investigation and found a couple of loose bolts that were holding everything, that were holding the engine down. So they're all now really tight. And he also sort of did some stuff with the hoses as well, so that the reserve tank is all now tight and secure and nothing's leaking. So we shall see tomorrow. I want to check the diesel. I'm sure it's fine, but I just want to have a look, check the diesel, check the engines, everything's okay.
Our engine's fixed! Our engine's fixed!
We haven't moved for a while, even though the engine has been running, was running yesterday. And then we're going to set off.
It's later than we planned to set off. It's about 10 to 8. It's icy this morning. But excited. Hopefully the engine will be okay. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. That's a good sign. I'm gonna go untie. No, we're leaving. We're leaving. Sorry. Oh, that doesn't look good. We're wondering if it's just because it's so cold. It seems to be clearing up. The smoke cleared and we decided to set off. Thank you so much for watching. Now this video is longer than our usual ones. I just wanted to add on the end that we would totally recommend all three of the people who helped us with our boat in this video. So Mark, who replaced the cambelt and worked really hard to make sure that our engine was fixed and that everything was done properly. Ed, who changed our engine mounts and came back to check the engine mounts after the cambelt had been replaced and just got every final thing sorted. And Ron, who did our BSS and was really helpful. I barely saw any of them because I'm always working during the day most of the time, but met Ed and Mark briefly, and they're both really lovely, and we'll pop the details in the description below in case anyone else is in this sort of general London, Hertfordshire area and needs someone really great to help with their engine or BSS. Should be back with another video in a week's time as usual. Hope to see you then.